Students, now in this course we will start our new course, that is number theory. This is another course for this semester, that is number theory. Now number theory is a branch of mathematics which deals with the positive integers, or basically the positive integers are nothing but the natural numbers. So set of integer, you know, the set integer is closed with respect to addition as well as multiplication. Means what? If we add any integer, then the addition of those integers is again an integer. The same thing is valid for natural number also. If we multiply any two integer, then the result is also again an integer. So now let us about z with addition. Z is what? Not for set integer, you know about, and we will take again it will be. So for addition, you know, 0 is such an element in set of integer that if we add 0 in any element, it will give us the same element again. So 0 is known as an additive identity. Also there are negative integers present, positive integers present, and 0 is present. Means what? There are such elements in the set of integer that if we add the negative of that one there, then it gives us the 0. Means what? There is a negative element for every element, or there is with respect to addition for every element. So due to that, what can we say is what? This Z with addition is a group. It is a group. You know the definition of group. It should be closed. It should be commutative. It should be that operation should be closed. First thing, closed. Then what? Second thing, it should be associative. Associative. Then it should be, there exists additive identity, and additive inverse. There must be an additive inverse. Sorry, commutative, it is in abelian group. There must be additive inverse. So these properties are hold in Z plus, so means it is a group. While if we look for Z with multiplication, if we look for Z with multiplication, set of integer with the multiplication operation, in that case what happened? It is closed. It is closed. Now it is associative, as if take a product of three integers in any order, it will give the same integer again in any order if we take it. Now means it is associative. Also the multiplicative identity exists. What is the multiplicative identity? There 1. If we multiply 1 with any integer, then we get the same integer again, so it will be a multiplicative identity. But what about multiplicative inverse? There is no multiplicative inverse for every element. There is no multiplicative inverse, so it is not a group. Multiplicative inverse absent. We know 0 doesn't have a multiplicative inverse, but for other element also there is no multiplicative inverse. Suppose 2 belongs to Z, so 2 into what will get 1, so it will be half, but this half doesn't belongs to what? Z. This half is not in Z. If it is in Z, then we say there is a multiplicative inverse for it, but it is not in Z, so we say it is not a group. Now what? Sometimes division of two integers is possible. Suppose I will divide 2 with 2, I get 1. It is again an integer. But if I divide 2 with 3, it doesn't belongs to a set of integer. Means sometimes division is possible, but sometimes it is not possible. So it gives the birth to an interesting concept, that is a prime integer. What is a prime integer? Now prime integer is that positive integer which has only two positive divisors. Only how many? Only two positive. It doesn't want one divisor. It doesn't want 3, 4, 5 divisors and on. Only two positive divisors. Then such a positive integer is known as a prime number. Now what can you say about 1? 1 is not a prime number. By definition, 1 has only one divisor, that is 1 itself. So 1 is not a number. What can you say about 4? Is 4 a prime? Is 4 a prime? What can you say about this? As 4, what are 4? What are the divisors? 4 has the divisor. Now you know 1 divides 4. 1 divides to each and every number. 2 divides 4. 3 divides 4. But 4 divides 4. So how many divisors it has? There are the divisors of 4 are 1, 2 and 4. So it has divisors. So but our definition says the prime integer is such a positive integer which has only 2 positive divisors. Now sorry. Now here it has 3 divisors, 3 positive divisors. So it is not a prime number. Now for prime we need only 2 positive divisors. How many primes are there? There are infinitely many prime numbers are there. Now the question may arise that are there infinitely many primes? Infinitely many primes. Are there infinitely many primes of the form? Are there infinitely many primes of the form 4n plus 1 or 6n plus 5? Now 4n plus 1 means what? When we divide that number by 4, the remainder should be 1. Are there such a primes? Then what does there are such a primes which are divisible by 6. That time the remainder will be left 5. So these questions, many other questions we are studying in this course. We are unable to give the general case, but we give idea to solve these questions using Dirichlet's theorem. We are trying to write the set of primes as sum of 2 squares. For example, this is another part. We are able to write the set of primes as sum of 2 squares, but not for all. Now just like 5 can be written as 1 square plus 2 squares, 17 can be written as 1 square plus 4 squares, 37 can be written as 1 square plus 6 squares. This is sum of 2 squares. Then 13 can be written as 3 square plus 2 square. Fine. Why? This can be possible for 5, 7, 13, 37, 13 and so on. Other numbers are for other numbers are also this is possible. While for 3, 7, 11, 19, for these numbers we are unable to write them as sum of 2 squares. Okay, for 2 it is possible. 2 is what? 1 square plus 1 square. These are some basic properties of integers, mainly the properties of prime numbers are studied in this course. That is, we are using basic mathematics to study it, as counting, group theory, etc. Now there are again advanced part is also there, but we go in that part. We will see the basic here basically. So we are using some basic mathematical concepts here. Still, as we are using the basic mathematical concepts, still let me tell you that it is an interesting course but not an easy course. You will have to work very hard to understand and learn it. I will try to help in every possible way. Now, before starting our course, let me give some foundations that we are using in this course. As now you know, the set of positive integers is nothing but set of natural number. Now natural number is basically denoted by n, capital N, but the capital N is used for many other things. So here I am using this n with a slight design. So I am using it as such. So this n is what? Set of, this is set of natural numbers. This is a notation for it. Set of natural numbers. Now what does this say? This set is what? This is a set of positive integers. Now here dot 1, 2, dot. Now this dot says it it is going on. It consists in many numbers. These are counting numbers. Okay. Firstly, these are generated. Similarly, the another set is what? This Z. This is again a designed Z I am using. I want to use a capital Z here. This Z is what? For set of integers. Set of integers, that -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. This is what? Set of integers. Set of integers. Now this Z comes from the word Zahlen. Zahlen is what? This is in German. In German, this is known as complete numbers. Set of whole numbers or the complete number. This word is known as a complete number. Is meaning this one. From this Zahlen, this Z will come here. From German language we have taken it. Now, you know, this set of natural number with addition, then set of integer with addition, as I explained before, then set of natural number with multiplication, and also set of integer with multiplication are what? Are closed. Means the addition of two natural number is again natural number, addition of two integer is again an integer, multiplication of two natural number is again a natural number, multiplication of two integers is also integer. Okay. This gives us that these two sets are equipped with addition. These are equipped with addition and multiplication. These are familiar with addition. These are closed. Means what? Equipped with addition and multiplication. Now the question arises that, do this reverse operation exist? Do the reverse operations exist? Reverse operations means what? Now for addition, reverse operation is subtraction. For multiplication, the reverse operation is division. So that is same as to say, can we subtract or divide? Can we subtract or divide in set of natural number? In set of natural number? That is the question. So now, what is the answer of this question? It is not always. We can say it is not always. Okay, it is not always. This thing should not happen always. However, sometimes it may happen. But it happen. However, sometimes we have a minus b is some natural number. The subtraction is some natural number. It may happen sometimes, but not always. Now, as this happened, so this gives a birth to the another thing, that is the order relation. Here, when does this happen? We haven't go that thing yet, as this will happen as this is same as to say as a is greater than b. Now we haven't looked for the greater than, less than and those things yet, or b is less than a. So this gives birth to an order relation, or is called an order relation. Or you know, you had gone through this one in first year BSc, that this relation is nothing but a trichotomy, the law of trichotomy. What does this say? For any AB belongs to set of natural number we have, for any AB belongs to set of natural number, we have either A equal to B or either A equal to B, or A is less than B, or A is greater than B. These are the possibilities. That is law of trichotomy. Now this will occur when the subtraction of natural number is possible. So this will come here. Now the next thing is that as this holds here, so it satisfies basic properties. It satisfies some basic properties. What are the basic properties? Let me tell you them. The first one, suppose if A is greater than B and C belongs to set of natural number, then C belongs to set of natural number. Okay. Then A plus C must be greater than B plus C. Now I will try to prove this one. I will give one proof to you of this one. Now if you prove it in different way, no problem, send that proof to me. I will check it and I will improve myself. Now let me write one proof here, that since A greater than B, so what does this say? We must have that as A greater than B, we must have this thing, A minus B belongs to set of natural number. We must have that A minus B belongs to set of natural number. I am using this A minus B. This A minus B I can write as A plus C minus of B plus C. What I have did here, I have added C, I have been subtracted C. This belongs to what set of natural number, as A minus B belongs to set of natural number. And as this subtraction belongs to set of natural number, so this implies A plus C is also greater than B plus C. But here, as I have been taking C with positive and C with negative sign, so here I have been used C from set of integer. I haven't used it from set of natural number. But you know, all natural numbers are what? Integers. So this is true here. Fine. If this C is negative, that time it may happen that is still this inequality remains same. It doesn't changes. Now the second property is that if A greater than B and C belongs to set of natural number, then A into C is greater than B into C. This is another property for this. Now let me prove this one also. Now the proof of this is proof. Again in simple way we can prove it, that since A greater than B, so this implies A minus B belongs to set of natural number. The same thing here I have been written, the same one, and it is given to us. It is given to us that C belongs to set of natural number. Fine. So this tells us that A minus B multiplied by C belongs to a set of natural number. You know, and multiplication is closed, so there the product of two natural number is again a natural number. So that gives AC minus BC. Open this bracket. AC minus BC belongs to set of natural number. So this implies AC greater than BC using this order relation. So here the proof of this one. So as now here it will be noted that if C is negative, then the inequality changes. But now here C belongs to set of natural number, so this one holds. This is true here. Now we turn to the reverse operation of multiplication. What is the reverse operation of multiplication? It is division. Now we turn to the reverse operation of multiplication. Reverse operation of multiplication. Reverse operation of multiplication is, what does that operation? It is division. It is division. So now you know some natural numbers divides another natural number, but not always. So that is same as to say, for a b belongs to set of natural number if a equal to b and c. For some c belongs to set of natural number, then we say b divides a. B divides a and write it as b divides a. This is a notation. This straight line is a notation for this relation. B divides a here. It is clear that 1 divides a for every a belongs to set of natural number. This will happen for every a belongs to set of natural number, as every natural number can be written as 1 into other natural number and the natural number is the same. Okay, so this is a God gift or God given divisor for every individual, okay, or for every natural number. Now the another one also, it is also clear that a divides a for every a belongs to set of natural number. A belongs to set of natural number. So this a divides a means what? A is equal to a into some number. You know that is 1. 1 belongs to set of natural number. So this is also a God given divisor. So this 1 and a are what? God given divisors. So these are always the divisors of any number. And just like a subtraction, this also gives an order relation, and that order relation is known as divisibility. But here we do not have order relation is the relation of divisibility, but we do not have a trichotomy here. As I can give you example, 2 doesn't divide 7, 7 doesn't divide 2, and 2 is not equal to 7. So this gives the birth to what? Primes. This gives the birth to primes. Now let me tell you the definition of divisibility and some remarks first, and we will go for the next. Now you should write here, if you this is just an introductory video I have been prepared. Now from here onwards our syllabus started. I am coming to the divisibility. Well, how does divisibility comes, or how does it occurs, or came into existence. Why does this is required? That part I have been taken here. So divisibility definition that let a and b be any integer with a not equal to 0 if there exists an integer k, if there exists an integer k such that b equal to a into k, then we say that a divides b or b is divisible by a, or a is divisor of b, or again a is a factor of b. We denote it as notation a divides b. If a does not divide b, then we denote it as a doesn't divide b. We are denoting it as such. Fine. Now let me write down an example. Let me take an example. Suppose 12 is divisible by 3. 12 is divisible by 3. So 12 can be written as 3 multiplied by 4. So there exists an integer, such an integer. So 12 is here. B is divisible by a. That is a divides b. So 3 divides 12. Therefore 3 divides 12. Or I can say 4 also divides 12. If I say 12 is divisible by 4. This is an example case here. Second, now 15 is not divisible by 2. Not divisible by 2. As there doesn't exist an integer. There doesn't exist an integer k such that 2 divides 15, or such that, what can I say, basically such that 15 is equal to 2 into some k. K is not, this k doesn't belongs to from z here. So this implies 2 doesn't divide 15. It says 2 doesn't divide 15. Now let me write down some notes here. Now some notes about definition of divisibility, or you can say remarks. The first one, since for any non-zero integer a, for any non-zero integer a, 0 is equal to a into 0. Therefore a divides 0. That is 0 is always divisible by any non-zero integer. for any integer a, for any integer a, we have a is equal to 1 into a is equal to a equal to minus 1 into minus a equal to minus a into minus 1. So this implies that, or it shows that 1 minus 1 a minus a are divisors of a, are divisors of a. That is, for any given integer, for given non-zero integer, for given non-zero integer a, it has plus minus 1 and plus minus a as a divisors always, as a divisors always, as a divisors always, and such a divisors are called trivial divisors. These are called trivial divisors. These are always divisors of those. So these are trivial divisors, while the all other divisors are called proper divisors, or non-trivial also, or is another word for divisors, proper divisors. For example, the proper divisors of 15, proper divisors of 15 are 3, 5, minus 3, minus 5 are what? Proper divisors, while the trivial divisors are what? Plus minus 1 and plus minus 15. Now the next remark is that for given non-zero integers, for given non-zero integers a and b, if a into b is equal to 1, then either a equal to b equal to 1, or a equal to b equal to what? Minus 1. Product, and then a into b equal to 1, or into b, a equal to b equal to what? Minus 1. For what? Integers. If they are what? Integers, then and then this will happen. Whenever, the next one is that whenever we say a divides b, then this a is always a non-zero. Look at here, a divides 0. Every integer divides 0. So denominator may be 0, but the new here, sorry, not a denominator is this basically. Here this a is always a non-zero, divisor is always a non-zero. 0 doesn't divide any integer. Now there are some properties, basic properties about the divisibility. Then the definition of prime number and comes. So we will see the properties of divisibility in next video.